Hey everybody, so I'm making a little video here about a rebreakable wine bottle that I've been working on and have actually had a chance to use in two kind of recent productions that I was fight directing. So I got this idea from a YouTube channel called Scott Prop and Roll. I assume the guy's name is Scott, who does these videos, and he works in practical effects on TV. And he made a video that I'm about to show you where he made a rebreakable beer bottle. The whole video, the long video, I'm going to link in the description, and it's only like just under 3 minutes, but here is the short version of it.
I made a reusable breakaway bottle. I did a video about breakaway beer bottles in movies, and one of the top comments was, is it reusable? And of course it's not, but it got me to thinking. Well, my buddy Timmy's got a reusable Legend of Zelda vase that's held together with magnets. So I figured, maybe I can do that. I found some plastic beer bottles online. You just want to make sure they have the flat bottom. My wife helped me out and cut it into 3 pieces. We glued in little plastic tabs for the magnets. It's definitely a little messy, but yeah, it's a proof of concept and it'll be in motion. And now for the speed test. It snaps together in about 3 or 4 seconds. There's just one thing that's missing. I'm cutting shards of plastic to put in the bottle. So the thought is when I smack it, shards will fly out everywhere. So I'm going to load it up and see if this bottle is all it's cracked up to be. I think it was a smashing success.
So, I saw that and just thought it just blew my mind. It's absolutely brilliant. And he ends it with a dad joke, sticks the landing, 10 points, no notes. So one thing I wanted to do after watching his video on the beer bottle was try to make it a little simpler. And some of this came from trial and error. So I went and I got the materials, and I even bought a pack of those little magnets and some super glue, and I got a little education the hard way in the eccentricities of glue and the varieties of glue. If you want to glue plastic to metal or wood to this or plastic to plastic, it's all different kinds of adhesives. And those who know me well know that I have near infinite patience where people are concerned and very little patience where inanimate objects are concerned. So I spent some time cutting the strips to try to attach the magnets to, and realized that the glue was just never going to do what I wanted it to do. So I put that all away frustrated, and I said, all right, I want to keep this simple. What can I do besides magnets? So I came up with the idea of, especially for a wine bottle, because we're dealing with more length of the prop, of seating one half inside the other half, and that's what I made. So I wanted to do a wine bottle version. I wanted something that would be a little easier, a little bigger, easier to sort of brandish, that you could just use as a broken bottle prop, but then also have that classic like broken jagged edge wine bottle half to maybe then use in a fight. So that's what I have done. I've found just about everything I needed on Amazon. It's all really cheap. So what I was able to find are plastic wine bottles. I think a box of 10, and they've all got caps, and they even have the little seals that you see on the top that has the little tab that you pull for the foil opening. I don't know how these seal to bottles. I don't know if they heat seal, but even that, so if you really wanted to create this full illusion that this bottle just came, right from the vineyard, never been touched, you could put the seal on it. So we have these bottles, and I use 2 bottles to make one rebreakable bottle. I'll get more into that. And then what a wine bottle needs is a label. So we have this label here. Again, this was Amazon, custom printed wine labels. Big shout out to Terry McIntyre for help with the aesthetic of the label, because that is not a strength of mine. But also, most importantly, for coming up, I don't know if this is focusing or not, with the name Chardonnay spelled with an S. Once again, 10 points, no notes. And this is it's Whipsy Rover Vineyards, because this is my Ren Fair Performer sort of billing. As far as tools, pretty much all I used was a box cutter for certain cuts to get things started. Sometimes for more precision, I've got these sort of heavy-duty scissors, so I know I don't have to put a lot of effort and it'll just cut right through. That was pretty much it for cutting. You know, just kind of just cutting in from one side, the other, making various edges, and the same thing with the shards. I would take some of the leftover bottle and just cut some big pieces and do, you know, weird, mostly sort of triangular shapes or weird shapes. That was pretty much it. The bottles, the labels, scissors, a razor, maybe it's an X-Acto or a box cutter. That was pretty much it. I didn't need any adhesive. Everything just holds together with tension. So let me show you what I came up with, and then I'll sort of take it apart and go through how I came to the current model. So here it is. Here is one of my Rebreakable bottles. It's got the label there, and you can kind of see there's a bit of, looks like a seam going on here, and then if I turn it around to the back, you can start to see some of the trick, some of the illusion. But the idea is this would be sitting on stage, far away, you know, on a table, on a shelf, where somebody would then be able to grab it and do the thing. So this comes apart. What I do is I have kind of two halves, and I cut a little, in addition to cutting into some jagged edges for if this were going to be a weapon in and of itself, I cut two slits on either side, and that allows this to compress a little bit and fit inside the other bottle. Inside the other bottle, just as you saw in that beer bottle video, we have shards. And because I used two bottles to make one for the bottom top half, basically, and one for the top half, that leaves a lot of extra plastic to cut into shards. So that works out really well. So we have all these shards. I make sure to cut them big enough that they don't fit through or really into the neck of the bottle. This is just in case you wanted to have somebody walk out with the Rebreakable bottle, which I did in one of the shows, and look like they're drinking from it, and then turn it around, break it, and use it as a weapon. So the shards are big enough that they don't fit into the thing, and you can put, you know, a little or a lot depending on the needs of the show and how much cleanup you want to deal with. So something else I did is I took the bottom of this bottle, just the very bottom, I think maybe 2 inches of the base of the bottle, and I cut that off and didn't use that part for shards. And I kind of jammed it into the bottom of this bottle with the top facing up. And I have a hole in the bottom here, so I can take this out if I need to. So this is just the base of another bottle. So the reason I wanted to do this, I wanted to fill up a little bit of space at the bottom of the bottle so that the shards weren't sitting all the way at the bottom. So that, in theory, I don't know how important this is, but the shards would be sitting closer to around the middle of the bottle and make a better explosion. I don't want the bottom of the bottle to fly away and have shards sort of with, you know, because of centrifugal force sitting in the bottom. I want them to just explode out. So I took the bottom of the bottle and I slide it all the way down, sort of upside down. To do that, once again, I had to cut a couple of slits on the sides because it can become a really super tight fit. So that slides all the way down to the bottom and gives a higher base for those shards to sit in right here. Then we fill it up with shards. It can be a little fiddly to get the two pieces together because there's a lot of cuts and edges. So it can just take a little bit of doing to get them to seat into each other. But once it's done, I can actually push this down tighter for storage so that it stays together well. And then all you have to do is sort of prep the bottle, loosen it up so it's got a tight enough hold that it doesn't fall out, and you could walk around with it, you could gesture with it and do things. But as you're going to see in the next video that I'm going to cut to, loose enough that with some pressure on the middle, it just flies right apart. So I did a test with my my hetero life partner in crime, Dominic, where we did a break on the head with some shards. So check that out.
I am in frame.
Rebreakable bottle test.
The Whipsy Rover Chardonnay.
All right, yeah, that'll be good. Okay, right there. Hiya! So that was a successful test. Shards fly out. There's still some things that I'm working on. If you look closely, you'll see that the bottom of the bottle kind of hits his head, bounces off. It hit me in the head, and then it hit the floor. But shards went everywhere. Other things I'm working on are, you'll notice that for as much as you could hear the sound in my test video, it doesn't sound like glass at all. I have to assume that in the Scott Prop and Roll video, to make that video, that he put in some glass breaking sound, because it does not sound like glass breaking. That's probably the biggest drawback if you really need that sound. I've been trying to brainstorm things that I could put in among these shards that would have a more glass-like sound. Metal can sound like glass sometimes, so I've been trying to think of maybe pieces of metal that I could include in here that would be safe, that wouldn't be sharp. These, by the way, are actually sharp, but they bend easily, so it's not going to cut the way glass does, but you have to be careful with these. So trying to think of something that I might put on the inside along with the plastic shards that might sound like glass. That's still a work in progress. I really don't have anything yet. The other thing that I'm working on is something to try to weight the bottom a little more, so that sitting on a table, it might look like it has liquid in it, because if it gets jostled, but also so that when the bottom of the bottle falls, it doesn't bounce quite as much. So what I tried a little earlier, I literally like a half hour ago, was I got some of this Loctite foam for like sealing cracks and stuff, and I put it into the hole that I have at the bottom and filled that compartment with foam, and you can see that it's still kind of oozed out a little bit, a lot oozed out. It was kind of messy. I don't know how I feel about this. So it would be great if somebody else came up with a better idea for how to add a little weight to the bottom of the bottle, both for the look and so that it doesn't quite bounce as far all around the stage. So as you can see with both of these, with this prototype here, I'll dump the shards out. So I added some jagged edges here as well. I shied away from making the front jagged because I found that draws the eye a lot more. Even at a distance, it looks a little more obvious that there's something weird going on. Whereas this line above, it's above the label, you can see this line coming across. Maybe at a distance that reads as the level of the liquid in the bottle, if it's not supposed to be a brand new unwrapped full bottle. But it's a straight line, and the label's a straight line. It's not going to draw the eye quite as much. It would look better as a broken bottle if some of this part were broken, but I felt like that was a sacrifice I could make to not draw the eye from a distance, but added some in the back so that if this, as this lands on the stage, maybe it lands upright or whatever, hopefully it looks enough. Plus, the big move covers the small move, and the idea is that they're going to see the shards, they're going to fill in the rest in their brain, and if this is being then brandished as a weapon, that this is what's going to have the attention. And I think this looks great, especially since it's going to be in motion. So that's the deal with that. So I wanted to do this because what struck me by the Scott Prop and Roll video, aside from the brilliance of the prop itself, is just that he was very generous in putting that out there. The longer version of the video goes into a little more depth of the materials that he used and exactly how he did it, and he just put that out for the world to see. So maybe this will be useful to some people. So yeah, that's my Rebreakable wine bottle. I've used these, one in a production of Jesus Christ Superstar. It starts with basically like a riot, and I have a protester come out, seeming to drink from the bottle, and then stuff goes down and she breaks the bottle. Way upstage, we didn't use shards inside for that one, for the cleanup, but we just wanted that effect, that visual effect of the bottle breaking, and then she comes back in with it as a weapon. And then the other production was Assassins, where Booth breaks a bottle just as an expression of anger. So it didn't need to be brandished. So we used another one of these with a moderate amount of shards, so that there wouldn't be too much cleanup. And both effects went really, really well. I'm happy with this. So I hope that this might be useful to you, for directors, stage managers, fight directors out there, always looking for new ways to do stuff that is pretty inexpensive and just takes a little bit of craft work. And if you come up with some improvements, I would appreciate you reaching out to me or responding to this video and show me what you're working on. Show me ways that this could be even better, more efficient, look better, sound better would be amazing. And yeah, I think that's all I got. So enjoy. Bye.